the attacking midfielder, wearing number 24 right there. The connector who can get into shooting range and help her team get on the board. UIW averaging 24 shots a match this season, helped out by that big game against Texas A&M San Antonio, where they put up more than 40 shots. And SMU immediately starts with some possession. Striker hits Richter, coming down the right channel, trading some paint immediately with Hayden Kish at the outside back spot. Nice win by Richter, and on her cross with the left foot, it is tapped out of bounds on the header by Grayson Unruh, and SMU immediately has an opportunity with a corner.
Yeah, less than a half a minute into the game, getting the first corner. And luckily for the Cardinals, this corner is going to be coming from the southeast corner of the field, meaning it'll be Richter who's taking the corner, who's looking into the sun. And all of those Cardinal defenders and SMU offensive players will have the sun at their backs this time.
A day of record-breaking heat in DFW, a high of 109. Broke the previous record of 107 on this date 16 years ago. See if SMU can start hot on the set piece. Richter curls it in toward the back post. It's brought out, Bunton coming in on it, and she shoots it over the goal, but a good opportunity there for SMU winning the second ball.
Yeah, nice job by Brooke Bunton trying to hit a one-timer off the bounce, maybe catching the Cardinals, maybe catching them a little off guard if they were suspecting a one or two touch effort to settle the ball. She got the shot away a little bit too high.
For UIW, they come in 3-0-0. All time, this is just the 7th time in their history they've started with 3 wins, no losses, no ties. Only their 3rd time since becoming a Division I program. 2nd time under Jake Plant. Plant's team in 2023 opened 3-0-1. And remember, Steve, they only won 4 games all of last season. So this Cardinal bunch already a win shy of last year's total.
Yeah, and Jake Plant made no secret of the fact that obviously he wants his team to win every time they take the field, but he wants to test the Cardinals against top competition. So he has scheduled a bunch of teams from the Power 4 conferences, including SMU today, because he wants his team to face the best out there.
Kamaya Beck a little indecisive, allowing Montana Matthews, the junior captain, left wingback, to come in and take it away, but SMU keeps the pressure on, and Stryker buries it deep. Beck lays it off to Richter against the sideline. Little tic-tac-toe in the direction of Richter. Cutting back on it, Taylor Kish, and she's able to dump it back up the field.
Nice job by Kish, not only to clear it out of the back end, but keep it inbounds, make the Mustangs go chase, and if they're going to start a new rush, they can build from the back.
Especially against teams like SMU, UIW is going to bring some attacking pressure. Now, how much will they be able to do so? They are not as deep as a Boise team on Thursday night, which was able to bring a lot of pressure all evening. I wonder if they'll have to pick and choose when they want to attack on this end of the field and try to press and repress.
I think they will. Coach Plant told us during the week that he doesn't anticipate the Heat being overwhelming to his team, because obviously it's hot in San Antonio as well.
A deep drive from out front and a goal from more than 30 yards out. Stepping into it is the holding midfielder Morgan Hines, who had the game winner last time out, and the freshman out of Smithson Valley puts an exclamation mark on this shot and beats Aubrey Brown.
Beautiful shot from distance. And I wonder if Aubrey Brown was a little bit screened, because that ball was halfway to the goal before she even moved. And she's, what, 35 yards out? At least 30. And Brown a second late, and you see the look of disbelief. Yeah, you can see the hesitation. She clearly was screened by either Elverum or one of the Cardinal players. And so she got a late jump on it. I was about to say, John, we were talking about when the Cardinals might press high. I was going to say part of it is going to be dictated by the score. Getting up a goal, you can bet they will try to press high. some more. If they were to fall back or keep it in a tie for a long time, they would pick and choose more freely, more selectively, I should say.
So a 1-0 advantage for UIW, and Ishak is able to start forward as well. And it all started with a giveaway by SMU on this end, and then Ishak laying it off. Ishak picking up the first assist of her career, and Morgan Hines scoring her second goal in as many matches. What a start for UIW, and trying to prove that the offensive explosion that they had about a week ago against Texas A&M San Antonio in a really a mismatched game against an NAIA opponent was not a flash in the pan.
Right. This is a team that comes to Dallas with an awful lot of confidence. And this start couldn't have been drawn up any better for the Cardinals. As you said, they want to show that this offensive outburst that they've enjoyed in the first 3 games, start of the 4th game now, is not a fluke. And that A&M San Antonio game, I think, is actually a pretty decent barometer, because when you look back at that, yes, the opponent was overmatched. It was going to be decided pretty early on. But the Cardinals were up 6 at halftime and still generated more shots in the second half than they did in the first. And what that says is this is not a team that takes its foot off the gas ever. So now here you are in Dallas, you're on the road, you're up a goal on an ACC team like SMU. Do not think for a moment that the Cardinals are going to sit back and try to defend with 11 to protect the lead for 85 minutes.
Well, Stryker eating up space, getting forward in the attack from her outside back position, undercut by Taylor Kish, who picks up the foul and will not be issued a card, but a good free kick coming up. Wow, for SMU after that collision.
It's a solid collision, but I think it's a pretty good no card call there. You know, she didn't come in with her spikes up. She didn't really get into Stryker's ankle. I think it's just a hard collision by 2 players trying very hard to get to the ball.
So you've got Richter with her right foot and Bunton with her left. And the ball will come out of the shadow into the light and back into the shadow again if it comes right in on Alexander. But Bunton trying to pop it to the back post and get it to Beck to operate, but SMU was offside. It appeared that Zoe Parkhurst and maybe even Kamaya Beck as well were in offside positions as that ball came in.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit of miscommunication there among the Mustangs as to what they were drawing up.
Something on the UIW side that you've got to like is not only are they putting a lot of shots up, Steve, but their shots on goal percentage is excellent as well. It's second in the country. 72% of their shots they've taken have been on frame. Again, second in the nation right now.
And that's out of 73 shots coming into today. That's an enormous percentage. You know, there are some schools that will pile up a bunch of shots by cranking one from 40 feet that floats in like a beach ball, and it's never a threat to anybody. And if it's just within the vague general direction, they may get credited with a shot. This is a team that shoots and shoots on frame. That's how you end up with 13 goals through the first part of the 4th game of the year.
Good switch for SMU. Richter slots it inside. Bunton has all kinds of room. Tries to square it in front. Initially shoved away by UIW. Kept deep by SMU's Wilson. And she's going to move it along to Stryker. Mustangs have had some possession here. Stryker looking to serve it in. And Jannereth running after it. Can she keep it in? Yes, she can. Jannereth with the wheels. Martin joining now. Extended possession by SMU. Floats one in. Header back out. Samuelson Elverum nods it down. Header one back the other way by UIW's Morgan Hines and cleared out to midfield.
You mentioned in the open when we were talking about Kaya Samuelson Elverum that she was the only SMU player to go the full 90 minutes in the also very hot Boise State game. And I think we'd be overlooking it if we don't point out that she's Norwegian, and she played 90 minutes in 100+ degree heat. I mean, yes, she played in Florida last year, so it's not the first time she's ever been in warm weather.
And it wasn't just the 100+ degree heat. It was 106 at game time. It was a 5 o'clock start rather than a 7 o'clock start, so it stayed hotter for longer, deeper into the match. You see some of the accolades for Samuelson Elverum. She was a full-time starter last year. at Jacksonville State, and she's just been marvelous this season. SMU can't say enough kind things about number 7 in blue.
Yeah, and it's you can see in that graphic there, she scored probably the most beautiful goal of the year so far for the Mustangs, a one-timer from outside the box against Vanderbilt.
Jannereth getting very dangerous, and it will be a corner kick for SMU.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Elvrum's been a fantastic addition. 2 corners in the first 10 minutes is a good omen for the Mustangs. See if they have a chance here to maybe get an equalizer.
If you're joining us late, UIW scoring in the 4th minute of the match. Morgan Hines bombing one in from more than 30 yards out, beating a shaded Aubrey Brown. SMU had gone 180 minutes at home without giving up a goal this season, but that shutout string is struck down. Richter again from the far corner. The freshman out of California toward the back post, where there is a free header opportunity, but Ella DeMott just could not put her head cleanly on it as she was running out of room, but a pretty nice serve there.
Out of room is the key because she is alone on the back post. She has a couple yards of space, and Ella DeMott would love to have another crack at that one. She was in position to make the play and just got a little bit on top of the ball, knocking it down rather than bending it back toward the center of the field. She needed a couple yards to the left, and we would be all even at 1.
DeMott, a really good target, though, Steve. She had 3 goals just like that off corners last year as a target at Iowa State, where she captained her Cyclone team a season ago in the Big 12.
Yeah, she's another one. The Mustangs have a lot of transfers in this year, and she's one of them. And yes, she's a key anchor on that defensive end, but she will get forward and present a very nice target for corners and set pieces.
Maya Beck, the freshman, a little too hot to handle for Libby Jannereth. Jannereth, who had the best chance to score in the Boise State match, took a feed and redirected it from Sarah Boniquez right on frame, but it was smothered up by Ava DeLeast. That was the best chance, at least in the final 10 minutes of that match. SMU trying to figure out a way to come out with 3 points if it were conference play, but could only salvage the 0-0 draw on Thursday.
Yeah, Jannereth was a little heartbroken when that opportunity was snuffed out, and if you remember, there were a whole lot of people in the stands who thought that was a slam dunk because a couple of them started celebrating in advance, only to find the Mustangs sort of looking around in disbelief, wondering how it didn't get in.
So far, SMU has really attacked down this right side with Richter and Stryker. And the Mustangs have also had some success advancing forward in this matchup. UIW has not had much of the ball, but when they did have it, they took advantage with the bomb from out front by the freshman holding midfielder Morgan Hines. Now here's a ball for Kiana Villa. Villa going toe-to-toe with Martin. Martin strikes it once, twice, and back out near midfield.
Martin, another one of those transfers who's been a really nice sort of solidifying presence at that left back spot for SMU.
Get a really good look at the UIW shape here, and SMU pressing in on those 3 center backs. Samuelson Elvrum does a nice job to shade with the body. Was looking for Jannereth, trying to spring her, but the freshman center back, Hayden Kish, able to catch up with it.
Yeah, you're exactly right about Elvrum on that play. She could have turned and tried to make a quicker pass, but by turning and putting her body between her opponent and the ball, she was able to keep possession maybe a little longer.
When floats out of play, it was last contacted by UIW. And back near midfield, SMU will be throwing it in. A lot of space on that left side. See what Martin can do with it here. Martin looking up the middle, though. And Kamaya Beck out of Lancaster, just south of Dallas, leaves it for Samuelson Elvrum. Back to the goal, Bunton. Feeds it wide for Richter. Great player in service. Right back for Bunton as SMU threatens, trying to tie it up here in the first half after the early goal by Morgan Hines and UIW. On the back door, good ball for Richter. One touch inside, knocked down. Bunton out of full clearance onto her left foot, bombs away and misses the upper corner by only about 4 feet.
And on that sequence, you see exactly what Bunton is for this team. Yes, she takes the shot. You see her chest the ball down, cut behind a defender, and get a left-footed shot away. And she gets a little bit under it, and it goes high. But prior to that, the ball was played to Bunton on 3 consecutive plays. She gets it, passes it off to Richter, gets it back, passes it off to Elverum, gets it back. The ball is going to run through number 13 an awful lot.
She had the season opening goal for SMU at Vanderbilt to tie up that game in the first half. SMU wins the second ball. Good ball for Jannereth from Bunton. Jannereth has a chance to run onto it and decide what to do. A great 1v1 player. She against Villa leaves it behind her. But Jannereth goes back to retain. And we'll find Martin. There's a lot of space on the flanks if SMU can get it there, but they pass it right into Joella Livingston, and that nearly stopped the advancement for SMU.
Nice job by Ella DeMott, though, to step forward and clean up the mistake for her teammates.
Good idea by Bunton, but Beck wasn't looking for it. Samuelson Elverum picked off. Oh, it's taken right back, though. And Hayden Wilson helps keep the pressure on for SMU. UIW thought coming into this match they might have to really hold in. Now here's Beck. Squares it in front. Bunton! Easy finish! And the SMU Mustangs tie it up. That is a connection that the Mustangs hope will be doing work year after year here in Dallas. Beck to Bunton, the U.S. national team players.
Yeah, normally we think of it in the opposite way. We think of Bunton as this ideal playmaker, and she is. But it was such a nice play by Kamaya Beck getting all the way to the end line. You see her stop, start again, and have the presence of mind to cut it back. Tucks it right past Zoe Parkhurst, who sort of raised her leg as if she was going to reach for it, but I think that was a dummy all the way, leaving it for Bunton. And as you said, when Bunton got it, the right half of the net was wide open, and number 13 did not miss.
Hannah Alexander had no shot. So SMU's pressure results in a goal, the second goal of the season and the third of the career for Brooke Bunton. And just excellent quality from Bunton to just redirect that one back in toward the goal.
Coaches talk all the time about how one of the big keys is response to a goal, whether it's a goal by your own team or a goal by the opponent. And I think Nicole Nelson and her staff have to be pretty pleased with the way the Mustangs responded to the early Incarnate Word goal by Hines. There was a moment of sort of standing and looking at each other with a little disbelief, like, what just happened? How did we give up that goal? And they had about a 10-second meeting at the top of the arc where they cleared the air or got a little reorganized, and they've had the vast majority of the possession since that goal, and then running through the defense with Beck setting up Bunton for the equalizer.
He's Steve Lansdale. I'm John Little. Non-conference affair between these two teams. First time that UIW and SMU have ever matched up. In fact, first time that UIW has ever played a team out of the ACC. You might remember, if you tune in to Texas universities, that not to the in the not so distant past, UIW was a Division II school all the way back to 2012. 2013 was their first Division I season. So they would have very limited opportunities to play against teams like SMU. But this is their first matchup ever against an ACC opponent, and they'll do it in back-to-back games. They'll have Miami coming up next.
They will, and Coach Plant made no secret of the fact that he wants games like this. He said, you know, the respect we have for a team and institution like SMU is massive. He wants that Power Four scenario. That's why we play, he said. Texas, Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU. This is the same caliber of opponent. We're going to have to play well to get a result, whether it's a tie or a win, and this is the kind of game that will prepare them for the tough conference matchups down the road.
And then they get Texas after that on August the 30th, and then back into some more mid-major competition after that, and in the middle of September, they will enter Southland Conference play.
Not exactly dipping their toe in the shallow end here, are they?
I would think not. So you get a look at Jake Plant 4 seasons as the head coach in San Antonio. Before that, spent 5 seasons as the head coach at Eastern Illinois. Substitution for the first time on the UIW side of things, and they'll make some changes up front as Louise Coates comes in place of Taylor Kish, and Zeba Ishak also sits down. Get an opportunity to see Perry Olmo for the first time. Olmo who has a couple assists early this season. That will change things around, though. It's not really a like-for-like substitution. It moves other players, other chess pieces around the field. Good feed out to Villa. Villa in wide space, crosses it in, one bouncer, and into the breadbasket of Aubrey Brown.
It looked like Brown got caught in a spot where it was a little between a short hop and a normal bounce, and she sort of had to grab it around her knees. A little bit awkward, but she grabbed it seamlessly.
So taking a look at the new shape for UIW, or where players are placed, they take Hayden Kish from an outside back position and they move her into the central midfield with this substitution. Louise Coates goes to the left back spot. The forwards up front are going to be Perry Olmo for UIW, and they also get Lily Ruff moving up a line as well as one of the forwards. Early goal for Morgan Heinz, and SMU answers with Brooke Bunton. Now the Mustangs look for the lead. Bunton trying to turn, but it's cleanly taken away by the freshman out of Orlando, Hayden Kish.
Bunton sat down a little awkwardly on that spin after the collision with Kish, and got up a little slowly and was hobbling for just a second, but she looks like she's going to be able to run through whatever soreness she came out of that with.
Again, Villa DeMott plays it out with her head, only as far as Morgan Heinz, who has the goal in this one, from about that spot on the field, actually, maybe just a few strides in.
Yeah, it was a mile away. It was a really, really nice strike.
All down the right edge, and DeMott wins the race for SMU, trying to keep it in, but can't. It'll be a deep throw in for UIW. So the Cardinals basically make a substitution to go from a single pivot to a double pivot, it appears. What does that tell you as far as going with 2 6s instead of 1 right now?
It says they want a little more defensive control in that central midfield. I don't know that that's entirely because of Brooke Bunton, but you can bet it's at least partly because of the way Bunton has been able to control the ball in the offensive part of that central midfield. And UIW will not be the first, or will not be the last team to try something like that, because Bunton, the phrase we've used a couple of times already this year is, you know, she's sort of a point guard, the way she runs things, finding her teammates in good opportunities to finish. Teams are going to make adjustments for her, and this looks like one by Jake Plant.
Kiana Villa. It goes short. Off to Matthews. Matthews tries to recenter it. Jannereth blows it up. Who's it last off of? It's off of UIW. Nice tracking back by Jannereth, who is definitely a two-way forward and showed off some of her defensive willingness there.
She really is. You know, a lot of times when you have young forwards, you know, they're used to scoring a lot of goals, and certainly she's capable of doing that. But ever since she has been at SMU, she has been a very responsible player, playing both ways, helping on the defensive end. And anytime you can have a player with that kind of speed who helps on the back end, that makes life a lot easier for everybody else back there.
Oh, for sure. DeMott and Wilson, the center back pairing, with Haley Hartman not available. Hartman had started the first 3 matches for SMU, but now back in a graduate assistant position, at least for now. 23 minutes left in the first half with SMU and UIW knotted at 1. The first ever matchup between the two. UIW last time out, able to take down Texas Southern 2-1. They went up 2-0 early in the second half on a corner kick and a header by Morgan Heinz, who scored tonight. And then Texas Southern scored about 9 seconds later, but UIW was able to hold on. That through ball by Richter intended for Beck, but Hannah Alexander able to scramble to it right at the top of the 18. UIW very much motivated, Jake Plant says, to not repeat last year when they underperformed. Feels like this team has a hunger to improve. They're making corrections faster than they did last year. There's a lot to be excited about in San Antonio as it's ushered into touch by the center back, Riley Sheldon.
Yeah, that eagerness, that hunger is one of those attributes in a team that you can't always teach, and a lot of times it can really magnify just the soccer IQ or the athletic ability that teams bring if they're willing to put in the work to not only do things as they're taught, but understand why they're being done. That can really help a team improve.
Good tackle by Hayden Kish. Another throw in for SMU is got away from striker just a bit. SMU has not made a substitution yet. We're also shy of our very necessary hydration break here in Dallas, which should be coming fairly soon. It is a hot night in Dallas, unless they forego it for some reason. But I just can't imagine on a night like tonight.
Not a chance. And as soon as you say SMU hasn't made any subs, there are 3 blue jerseys getting ready to come in. Make that 4.
A couple of freshman speedsters and a transfer or senior as well coming in for SMU. Well, this is the first regular season matchup against a Power 5 team for UIW. They did match up with Texas A&M in the exhibition season, falling 3-0. Felt like they showed up and competed, although they got overmatched in College Station. Matthews feeds it out front. Livingston, some good pressure, tries to dump it inside, and Lily Ruff gets knocked down. Stryker clears it away. And here comes our hydration break in Dallas at the 20-minute mark of the first half. UIW striking first on Morganheim's second goal in as many games. SMU fires back thanks to Brooke Bunton. We're tied at 1 at SMU. 1:03, even as the sun is starting to fade, and there are prominent shadows over the field, but it is a very hot day, and it will take a lot out of you tonight.
It will, and we will mention the heat probably 1,000 more times before the game is over, and everything that the players, and let's be honest, the officials are going through. How about a tip of the hat to the fans who've come out to this? There's a good crowd here for this game.
That's a great point. Some subs for SMU. And Ryan Dedman is able to smack it back in Montana Matthews' face, but another corner is on the way for UIW. So the subs for SMU at the striker position. Kaylee Noble comes in. You see Ryan Dedman is in at an outside back spot. Matthews strikes it on the quick corner restart. It's cleared away, but able to be chased down by Riley Sheldon. Also on for SMU is Londynn Hagan, had a wing position. She'll play the right wing spot for the Mustangs as they get some changes. And also the left back is subbed for. Abby Goldine is in at the left back for Malia Martin.
You were right before that substitution. You referred to the speed that's coming in. Londynn Hagan may be the track star of the bunch, but all of them can run. And you know, you talk about the new faces blending in, both freshmen and transfers for every team every year. And we're only 3 games in, but I think you can safely say that this year's SMU team is faster and more athletic.
SMU trying to put some pressure on Grayson Unruh, who unleashes it down the right side. The cross is tipped out in front, and Samuelson Elver is able to clear it out. Richter heads it along to Noble. Noble able to keep control of it and spring it to Hayden down the right side. Here comes Londynn Hagan. Out in front, here's Bunton. One touch, it's in! It's a double for Brooke Bunton. SMU on the counter with a well-constructed goal.
Beautiful goal by Bunton, who tried a one-timer earlier and got a little bit under it and sent it over the bar. But to me, this play was really started by Noble behind midfield. She ran onto a loose ball and looked up, and there's about 4 defenders within shouting distance. So she finds her freshman teammate, Londynn Hagan, who might be the fastest player on the team, getting into some space on the right flank. Sends a curling ball out to Hagan, who runs onto it, sees number 13 drifting into the box. Beautiful pass by Hagan, and Bunton puts the Mustangs ahead.
Noble's first assist as a Mustang. Hagan's first assist as a Mustang. And then Brooke Bunton with her first career brace. And Bunton also makes the play in the midfield here. Doing some dirty work to try to get it back for SMU as they take their first lead tonight. Bunton second tonight, third of the season.
I'll say what I said before. Nicole Nelson and her staff have to be ecstatic with the way the Mustangs responded. They got disorganized on that first goal when Incarnate Word took a 1-0 lead, and there was a little bit of disbelief and sort of confusion on some SMU faces. But since that goal, the Mustangs have dominated possession, really controlled play, specifically in transition. They've defended well in transition, and beautiful passing. That, like you described, is sort of a tic-tac-toe goal from Noble to Hagan, back to Bunton for her second of the night.
Yeah, and Bunton has just been on the receiving end of some great service. The first one by Beck, the second one by Hagan, and she's been there to dunk it in both times.
And there will be plenty of times this year when other SMU players will be described as being on the receiving end of some great service from Brooke Bunton. But for her, it's got to be nice to get her share as well.
Yeah, this time it is Londynn Hagan, who comes over from Oklahoma Energy FC and Mustang High School in Oklahoma. Starting her career a full year early here at SMU and showing she has the ability to factor in as one of the best forwards on this team. Bunton trying to spring Noble just a little too much, and racing to it to send it away is UIW's Grayson Unruh, but a throw in for SMU.
Nice to see Kaylee Noble get in on that last scoring play as well. I thought she was one of the Mustangs' better players against Boise State a couple days ago. And she really gave the Broncos some fits in the second half of that game. It's nice to see her get rewarded tonight.
So Bunton out. Her hunt for a hat trick will have to come in the second half as Sarah Bonaquez comes on and Lisa Beyer in for Kaya Samuelson-Elverum. Hagan's offside and goes back over to UIW.
So no 90 minutes for Elverum tonight.
No, not tonight. As we told Nicole Nelson, she was the only field player in the field that played all 90, whether it be for Boise or for SMU on Thursday. She was a little surprised. She said, I thought I got her out. But evidently, Kaya never looked over to the sideline and said, hey, I need a breath here. She just kept going, all 90.
I almost don't remember her even looking tired.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, I think we were tired just watching. But yeah, I don't think there'll be any time you'll see her ask for a break.
Wilson has to play in reverse. Good shield off by Deadman. Freshman with some good quality to get it up the sideline. That wide touch means a takeaway. It's thrown out in front and taken away by SMU as it drifted away from Perry Olmo. But the Cardinals do get it back off the takeaway.
Nice play by Abby Goldine, who saw that heavy touch and came streaking in from the left side to clean up a bit of a rough touch.
Goldine heads it out. Morgan Hines collects it. She had the game opening goal. Unruh headed back out by Wilson. Chested down by Bonaquez, who's just into the game. The transfer from TCU, who spending her second season on the hilltop. SMU with a pair of Brooke Bunton goals. The 2-1 advantage with 14 minutes left in the first half in their first ever matchup with UIW.
We were talking, John, in the first few minutes of the game about how much Incarnate Word might press high to try to force the issue. And when we first brought up the topic, that was exactly when Hines scored the first goal of the game. now that SMU is ahead, it'll be interesting to see how Coach Plant and his staff make that adjustment. Obviously, you need to get the equalizer, but we also have almost 60 minutes left in this game, so it's not like it's a moment of desperation. Nothing near that yet. But being behind obviously creates a very different dynamic than if you're trying to protect a lead.
So far, SMU has been able to spread out UIW and pick up a couple beautiful goals, including one behind the defense. Speaking of behind, Montana Matthews trying to get in this one-touch cross. It's flicked along, cleared partially by Goldine, and UIW could not hold it right at the edge of the 18. Otherwise, it would have been a very dangerous opportunity for the freshman Lily Ruff, but had to go through a wicket.
Good job by Sarah Boniquez applying enough pressure to force one-touch passing there by the Cardinals in the wrong direction.
What a win there by Goldine, who outraces Villa, and Villa has to drag her to the turf.
And you see their arms get hooked here. Are there like 2-point takedowns in soccer? Have they added that yet?
I don't think so. Otherwise, UIW would have just taken the advantage. A little bit of sustained pressure for the Cardinals, trying to break down SMU here. Boniquez, Coates, tripped up. Hagan helps up Coates after taking the Englander to the ground. Coates didn't play against Texas Southern last time out, but did have an assist in that high-scoring 9-0 A&M San Antonio action. Getting some early time here. And Coates giving it away to Noble. And here comes Noble with Boniquez out in front. Can she time her run? We'll see. Boniquez not able to get there, and she may have been offside anyway, but scrambling off the line, Alexander makes sure.
Yeah, but that's the third play in just a few minutes where Noble has run onto a loose ball and then split a couple of defenders with a nice pass.
This one's on for Perry Olmo, and her drive is right in on frame. She did not make Aubrey Brown move, but a great feed over the top to Olmo.
You're right. Beautiful pass up over the top, and Olmo hits the Jets and never even settled the ball. Just ran onto it and struck it first time with her left foot. I think you're right. If she had made Brown move one way or the other, she would have had a good chance, but it was right into Brown's wickets.
SMU giveaway and letting it rip. Joella Livingston tests Aubrey Brown, and this time Brown is equal to it as Livingston really gave that one a ride with the left foot.
We've seen several times this year, Aubrey Brown clearly spent a lot of time over the spring and the summer focused on not giving up rebounds. She catches more cleanly than she did a year ago, and when she doesn't catch it cleanly, she's been able to drive the ball straight down into the ground and roll on top of it. I don't know if she's given up a really juicy rebound yet this year.
Noble finds Dedman in space on the right side. SMU threatening with 4 advancing. Out to Hagan. Looking for service. Poked away. Hagan back on it and just past Noble. If it was about 18 inches toward the top of the 6-yard box, that is a dunk for Kaylee Noble.
Yeah, beautiful. Really a difficult cross there by Noble because she hit it on the first strike, and she kind of hit it off a short hop there. Very difficult ball to control, and she threaded it between a couple of defenders. And you're right, she didn't miss Noble by much.
A couple substitutions for UIW. Veronica Navarrete-Seveda is in to play a center back spot. Julia Watson in up front. Olivia Ariana is in at a midfield role, and for SMU they sub on the wing as Jules Richter gets a breath for the first time in this matchup, and the freshman from Germany, Mila Hatzig, who appeared in the opener against Vanderbilt but had not been seen since, is on for the first time. Hatzig and Lisa Beyer, who's in at a midfield role right now, were teammates at Wolfsburg 2 in Germany.
When you join a new team, it is always so helpful to have at least one familiar face. As you get acclimated to a new school and a new city and new coaches and new teammates, at least there's someone you can get with and try to sort out all that goes into that kind of a transition.
Goldine sees some space, finds Hatzig out wide. Hatzig touches it along to Noble. Noble trying to drive it inside, knocked back at her. Back out to Goldine. Service toward the goal, and it ends up being a long shot from the sideline for Abby Goldine, and it's smothered by Hannah Alexander.
Abby Goldine does a nice job getting forward up that left flank. I think she's sort of going to be a sneaky addition to the outside portion of the SMU offense, in addition to her defensive responsibilities.
And she was a totally overlooked player. Played at Providence Day School, where they won 3 straight state championships in her sophomore, junior, and senior seasons. First team All-State as a junior and a senior. But she kind of got a late start in the ECNL, and so she just got totally overlooked, but is getting this ACC opportunity with SMU, and she has stepped right in and been one of the best outside backs that Nicole Nelson can put on the field.
Yeah, she may have regretted being overlooked, but Nicole Nelson probably doesn't regret it. She's thrilled to have her.
Dedman will let that safely run across with 7.5 left in the first half. Incarnate Word on the board first, 4 minutes in with a Morgan Hines strike. Since then, SMU getting a couple goals of their own, both from Brooke Bunton. And a couple saves since then from Aubrey Brown. Sub on the Incarnate Word side. Abigail Casey is on, the transfer from UTSA, so she stays in San Antonio. Comes on for Joella Livingston at an advanced midfielder spot. Mott carrying. Here, giveaway. Watch out. Running onto it is Oriana. Tries to pass it out front, and it's just beyond Abigail Casey as she was rushing on, and SMU able to get a full clearance.
Yeah, nice job by Zoe Parkhurst, who bodied her up at the top of the box and forced her to spin away from the goal and look for a teammate rather than trying to tee up a shot and let it rip.
It's the very dangerous Matthews. Service to the far side. Goldine has it played well, though, as Villa was parked there. Now Villa trying to race past Goldine. Another great athletic matchup. And fair play, no foul given as Goldine wins that race. Freshman against junior, or senior, I should say, and fourth-year senior in Villa. And she gets a huge round of applause from the crowd.
Yeah, weren't we just saying Nicole Nelson's glad to have her? If she mistimes that jump, then there's tons of room in the corner for the offensive run, and she came out and snuffed out 2 more plays. And when both players hit the deck, she was up first on her feet, able to keep possession for SMU. Terrific play by Abby Goldine.
Oriana coming in and nearly making contact with that ball as Aubrey Brown came out to grab it on a hop. A lot more pressure here for UIW at the end of the half, trying to get things tied up.
Yeah, obviously another goal before the intermission would completely change the dynamic. Right now, you know, the Cardinals got up a goal early, but ever since then it's been kind of all Mustangs. And if somehow Incarnate Word could find the equalizer and send this to the locker rooms all equal, that would change everything for both teams.
Yeah, little flurry here by UIW. And certainly after the shoulder slumped after the second goal by Bunton, they have recollected themselves. But watch out here. The speed of Hagan, the Oklahoman, right up the gut, has Noble on her right. But Hagan's going to take it herself and score! What a drive by Londynn Hagan, who takes aim and rips SMU up 3-1.
Beautiful goal by Hagan, who really was benefited greatly by having Kaylee Noble out on the right wing, because that defender had to sort of be honest about Noble. You can see as Hagan gets close, you can see the defender 27 just lean a tiny bit Riley Sheldon to make sure that Noble's not left alone, and that gave Hagan room to just tee it up and let it go. And a beautiful high shot over Hannah Alexander.
The scouting report on Londynn Hagan, who will be 17 the entirety of this season, by the way, having come in a full year early, is she can cut inside as a wing, and she can score, and she did both there.
Yeah, I think early on she was used primarily running overlapping runs and corner runs out on the flank, but as you said, she can cut inside. She's already made at least 3 inside runs tonight. And that last one obviously turned out beautifully. It was a terrific shot.
Villa, DeMott pokes it out. Boniquez settles it down, pops it in the direction of Hatzig. Villa, as it go off of SMU, it stays with UIW. We said it before the season. We said it in every game, Steve. SMU is more explosive than they have ever been. They're also deeper than they have ever been, and that is showing off so far as Villa cranks one inside, and Brown plays it perfectly. But these counters for the Mustangs are deadly.
They really are. They really are. And it is a young team, and not necessarily chronologically young in every case, but there are a lot of new faces, even the transfers. And with any team that brings in a ton of new faces, there will be a learning curve as players get used to each other. But without question, on good days or bad days, this team is faster and more athletic than the last few Mustang teams as well. And it's really showing, and it shows on both ends of the field.
That can cure a lot of ills. They're young, but they are quick. The SMU Mustangs up 3-1, and just when it looked like UIW was starting to grab some momentum, the Mustangs strike like lightning. Hagan has a goal and an assist in the first half. Hot pass for Matthews. Heavy touch. Parkhurst runs onto it. Parkhurst started her career at OU. SMU still has 3 minutes left to work in this first half in this first ever matchup with the Cardinals out of San Antonio.
The Mustangs cast a light on where I left out on the analysis a moment ago when we were talking about Incarnate Word pressing high, trying to get the equalizer before halftime. That's a great plan when it works, but if it doesn't, there's sometimes some open space to run on the back end. And the Mustangs certainly took advantage of that with Londynn Hagan.
Watch out, Hagan makes the steal. Hagan trying to step inside. Hagan pops it out front. Noble with one touch sends it just wide. And Hagan continues to create from her right wing position.
When you have a player like Londynn Hagan, who has already shown that she can outrun a whole lot of defenders, and we have seen that she can make streaks down the right side, or as we saw a moment ago, she can cut inside and split defenders. That makes other teams defend differently. You have to defend speed differently than you do if you defend, I don't know, someone like me. And makes people take a deeper stance. It makes teams take fewer chances, and it opens more opportunities.
This one run by Abigail Casey. Finds Matthews. Sends in a dangerous ball. Gets down on the ground. Goldine, like she nearly touched it with an arm, but not quite. Clears it, but Matthews is there, stepping inside. Shot by Kish, deflected out front. Kish heads it back in toward the goal. Chested down by the sophomore Ariana. And the Cardinals will stay in possession until Dedman rips away the ball and releases it out for Noble after a misplay by Coates. Here's Noble marching in on the right. She has Hatzig coming in. Does she see her? Noble drifting out front. Stopping, full pirouette. Noble on her right foot, fires off the woodwork. Big rebound, cleared away.
Terrific play by Noble. First to get into the offensive third, got past a defender, and then was looking for a teammate. Didn't see someone open, so she had the patience. Here you see her get away. Oh, that was after the spin. She had the patience to spin back away from the defender, gets a shot all the way across the mouth of the goal, and missed by inches.
Just 10 seconds left in the half. Parkhurst sends it in, saved easily by Hannah Alexander. And the SMU Mustangs, after conceding early on, turn to Londynn Hagan and company and take the advantage at the half. The Cardinals trying to do everything they can to be dangerous enough to be a factor in this game, but the Mustangs, particularly in those last 2 goals, striking quickly by hitting UIW on the counter, and it was really tough on the Cardinals to get back against this speed of SMU.
Exactly. The Cardinals have been pressing high quite a bit through the first half, including, as you said, on the 2 plays that led to the second and third SMU goal. And it's the right approach, right? You need to get an equalizer, but in doing so, at some point there's going to be some open space somewhere. And if you throw too many numbers forward, there's going to be space either in the midfield or on the back end. And when the Cardinals pressed really high in the first half, the Mustangs were able to get control, send the ball long, and take advantage of all that open real estate, picking up their second and third goals of the first half.
UIW starting with that double pivot in the second half. SMU has Richter back on the ball in the corner. Down to Beck, an original starter. Back to Richter. Sends it across over the head of Janerick, but cutting in Zoe Parkhurst off the head and in. And in the first minute of the second half, Zoe Parkhurst opens up her 2026 accounts.
That could be a backbreaker for Incarnate Word. You know that they were making adjustments at halftime, and they were talking about what things had to be done in order to get back into this game. And to give up a goal in the first minute of the second half is crushing. Beautiful cross, but even better, this finish by Parkhurst. She runs onto this with a defender on her hip and hits the lower right corner, literally hits the goalpost. That is an absolutely unblockable shot in any league at any level.
Yeah, that cross by coming out of the corner by Jules, it's probably a 5 on the Richter scale, right? But that was a thunderous header.
It was. And we've heard a Richter scale. All right, I caught up a minute later. I haven't had coffee in a few hours. Ever since she got here, Nicole Nelson has talked about Richter and what a beautiful serve she has, her ability to send exceptional passes in from the corners, and boy, that was a perfect example. Gorgeous serve by Richter.
Watch out here. Numbers going forward again, and Richter slots it inside. Beck back to the goal, twisting out front, and now tries to scoop past players. Taken down, and she wins the ball back with a beautiful tackle and gets it back to Richter. Again, Beck is a player that is willing to work defensively as well.
She is, and we've talked about that. It's sometimes that young players take a while to pick up the need to handle responsibilities on both ends, as we see the offside flag come up here, giving a free kick to the Cardinals. But since she arrived, Kamaya Beck has been a very defensively responsible forward for the Mustangs.
Season high in goals for SMU here early. 4 goals in the first 46 minutes of this match, as SMU has found ways to slice and dice this Cardinals defense that had only given up a single goal all season coming in. Rude awakening. Bunton gives this one away. For UIW, they had only played 3 Power 4 teams all time, or had 3 Power 4 matchups. They were all against Baylor, losing by a combined score of 15-1, but tonight, SMU really making their way against UIW after giving up the early goal.
I keep going back to what we talked about in the first half. You know, Nicole Nelson will never, ever, ever tell you it's a good thing to give up that first goal, but I think she's got to be ecstatic with the way her team has responded. You know, the Mustangs could have gone back on their heels and hung their heads and said, oh no, maybe today's not our day. That is not the response she's gotten from her team.
No, they came out with a fever after that first strike by UIW, and it was an impressive one by the freshman Morgan Heinz, but all SMU since. Richter bumped off the ball, and a goal kick coming up for the Cardinals. And Hannah Alexander, who has been under siege in this matchup.
Yeah, I don't know that you can point a lot of fingers at Alexander, because out of the 4 goals, I would argue maybe 1 of them was savable, and 3 of them, as you said, she's really been under siege.
Alexander played every moment in goal last season for UIW, and in a year where they went 4-8-4, a goals against average of 138 is not half bad. She had 5 shutouts.
No, not bad at all.
Her save percentage was near 76. I mean, that's pretty impressive. As Beck can't run after this one. Alexander was tested a lot, but she's a high pedigree player who started her career at Alabama, didn't get any playing time between 2021 and 2023. Was part of the TCU program in 2024 when they came to SMU and played on the early morning hours of Labor Day, if you remember that one. But finally got on the field for UIW and has had a great start to this season. And, you know, obviously the first half of this one notwithstanding, like you said, a lot of these moments not on her. Parkhurst has it taken away. Nice job by Olmo. Tries to leave it for Ruff. It's played behind her. Livingston giving some ground, and the Cardinals able to keep possession, trailing by 3 thanks to the early second half goal. Here's an overlapping run, and good job to come in from behind and send that one away by Stryker, who makes the tackle from behind on the overlapping run.
A nice play by Stryker helping back. You don't want to give up the corner, but a whole lot better than giving up a shot on goal.
Riley Sheldon, number 27. She is a target in there. So is Kish, number 8. This one to the top of the 6, and a free header is edged in toward the goal and saved by Aubrey Brown. Not a lot on it, but pretty well executed for UIW as they tried to get on the board. And now SMU again has a lot of players out in front. This ball for Beck. Beck with the long strides, able to catch up with it. And she'll get a corner out of it as she was able to run down that pass from Libby Jannereth.
Nice decision by Beck. She ran that ball down. She looked up and she saw Richter behind her, but she also saw that she had a defender right in her face. She could have tried to dribble and dance around to try to get away and drop it to Richter. But it's sometimes just, you know, take the easier route and get yourself a corner.
No goals off corners yet this year for SMU. Richter again gets a chance to serve. Right to the top of the 6, free header by Jannereth, knocked right back, half clearance, and Parkhurst will run it down for SMU. Jannereth, like she popped off a springboard there to get in the air. DeMott.
She did climb the ladder a little bit, huh?
She did. Just trying to figure out how she got there.
And she's listed at 5'5". It's not like she's, you know, the tallest player out there. You're right, she got up in the air.
What an athlete. Here's Martin with some space. Watching Jannereth in the corner. But instead, she'll be patient. This is what Nicole Nelson wanted, is when you're not pressured, the patience, and then let the opponent commit and then try to pass through them. Richter, Bunton, working on 2 goals. Comes centrally. Bunton gives herself a little room. Tries to feed it back for Martin, but it's a little short. And stolen away by Olmo. Was able to cross up Bunton and bring it up the field.
And when Bunton was coming across the top of the box, she looked up a couple of times at the goal. She knows she's a goal away from a hat trick.
Already with her first career brace. Livingston out to the edge. It's the captain, Villa, but taken away by Martin, the transfer from Michigan State. Throw in for SMU.
Nice patient play by Martin, getting the ball away, and then just like Beck on the other end of the field a moment ago, take the easy route. Just bang the ball off an opponent out of bounds and get a restart for your own team.
SMU scoring 4 straight after the early goal by UIW tonight. A little bit of pressure. Kish Tries to feed it into the box, but a little too strong for the onrushing Lily Ruff. And Hayden Wilson, starting at the center back spot for the first time this season, sends it into touch.
And she might like that ball back at least enough to play it over the sideline and give up a throw instead of a corner.
Yeah.
But overall, I think she's played pretty well in there tonight.
So B. Livingston with her left foot this time. Livingston to the top of the 6, free header again, and this one is popped just wide. Good job to attack it from out front. Another one by Veronica Neverett Seveda. That's her second one she's had an opportunity at. The sophomore center back, the transfer from Oregon, who didn't get any playing time last season when she was in the Great Northwest, but is part of a center back rotation that Jake Plant really likes for his level of competition this year.
And both teams have been able to get some free headers on those set pieces and corners.
A lot of room. Beck with a good idea, but Seveda coming away with the short touch. Pressure by Beck. Seveda gives it away. And Martin plays it into possession. Parkhurst has the second half goal running onto it. But UIW takes it away. And Martin able to snipe it. Janareth sliding to it out front. And here comes SMU again, 10 minutes into the second half. Janareth, as Beck falls down behind the play, Janareth runs right past everybody, crossing in and over the head of the on-rushing Richter. Tracked down, though, by Stryker, and SMU can stay on the attack. Stryker deflected over the goal line for a corner.
I love that Richter went up trying to get a head on it and was only about 5 feet short of that cross by Janareth. We know she can jump, but that was maybe a little optimistic.
John Rush, the central official in this one, has not had to book anybody yet, but he is threatening it. Getting backed up by his assistant referees as well. Richter again. Beck posting up at the near post. The massive players moving in. Richter approaches, fires it back post in the direction of Janareth. Couldn't catch up with it. DeMott trying to race after it. And with the long strides, Neverett Seveda comes out with it for UIW and clears it herself.
And how about DeMott hustling back to interrupt that play by what could have been a long run down the right side for Incarnate Word.
It's been a long night for UIW ever since that early goal. Parkhurst dribbling through defenders. Finally gives it up in the midfield. Villa trying to take it back, but Janareth again scrambling back to the ball, even in a 4-1 matchup, sprinting to get that free ball and take it back into control for SMU. Coming up for the Mustangs, matchup against Southern. That will be on Thursday night. And they'll stay at home with a matchup against another team out of the Southland in Houston Christian. Villa, Livingston at the edge of the box. Left-footed drive over the top. Livingston just given some space, choosing to give it a ride. The 8th shot by UIW. 4 have been on frame. 3 saves tonight for Aubrey Brown.
The Cardinals have found a little bit of space in the second half, but a couple of shots they've had have also been from considerable distance. Livingston gave that one a ride, but probably would like to see them get into the box to get a little higher percentage chance on converting some of these shots.
For Livingston, the junior, both of her career goals have come against Prairie View A&M, including a game winner last season and a game winner this year in the opener. Stryker trying to make her way around Montana Matthews in the corner, and eventually it ends up in a corner kick for UIW after that heavy work between the two combatants.
You see them wrestling for space, ending up in a pile on the field.
And Montana Matthews The Australian, looked like she was playing rugby there. And this is going to be a foul instead.
Yeah, it's actually a free kick.
Yeah. So a short corner, and Aubrey Brown sees it the whole way, curling into the near post.
It could have been a corner, but I think it had to be a foul because Matthews and Stryker they had their arms hooked up. I'm pretty sure they had their ankles hooked up. They were pushing, shoving, tugging jerseys. You could make an argument about who should have been called for the foul, but I think it's pretty clear someone should have, and they whistled Nicole Stryker.
Absolutely twisted up in a pretzel. Bunton trying to spring back, trying to reach it, and that did make it over the end line. It'll be a goal kick as 3 new players prepare to enter for UIW.
And if you're Nicole Nelson and the SMU coaches, the best part about that run is that Beck did not go crashing into those bike racks behind the goal and bounced up injury-free.
Full speed forward, Julia Watson comes in. You got Olivia Ordiana for a midfield spot. Morgan Hines, the goal scorer for Taylor Kish here as well. No subs yet for SMU in the second half, as Nicole Nelson is like the way her starters have fired out in the second half. Again, great work by Jannereth to win that second ball. But Cardinals able to take it away and pass forward. Richter trying to go after the loose ball, and she'll be called for the foul. Running up and into the back of the freshman from England, Louise Coates. So up next for UIW, their jaunt through the Power Four continues as they head to Miami on Sunday, and then they will stay on the road. Or excuse me, on Thursday, I should say. And they'll stay on the road next Sunday and take on the University of Texas in Austin. After that, a home matchup against Tarleton State. Followed by a road matchup at American Conference foe, UTSA. And it's ACU. And then into the Southland on the 17th of September, starting out against East Texas A&M at home. Zoe Parkhurst looking forward, but just misfiring for Libby Jannereth. Another sub coming in for UIW. It'll be Zeba Ishak, who leads the team in goals this season with 3. Haven't seen her since the early moments of this matchup. And this will change the shape a little bit as Louise Coates, the outside, or the center back, will come out and Ishak comes in. So some shifting of the lines here.
Yeah, we don't know. It was a little bit interesting to see Ishak leave the game as early as she did in the first half. Obviously, we don't know if maybe she picked up a little bit of a knock somewhere, or the fact that she's back suggests that she's just fine, and hopefully for the Cardinals she is, because she's a very dynamic player who's been a great addition to that front end for them.
Now she has, as Ishak stepped into the lineup and had a multi-goal matchup against Texas A&M San Antonio. Giveaway, Beck able to play it back to Bunton. Bunton looking for the hat trick, leans into it and shoves it over the crossbar. Brooke Bunton with a little bit of space, and that 20-yard shot skied over the bar.
And she is, and she's going to have to wait till later on to get another chance at it, as she will take a seat.
Good idea, though, by Brooke Bunton. Bunton earning a rest. Her most productive goal-scoring game of her career with her brace. Sarah Bonaquez comes on for her, and also a substitution in the midfield as the freshman from Germany, Lisa Beyer, enters for Zoe Parkhurst, who just scored a goal for SMU in the first minute of the second half. A little bit more depth being tested for UIW, as they'll get Grayson Unruh back into the matchup for Veronica Navarrete-Seveda, who is the target on a couple of corner kicks. And Abigail Casey in for Villa. Fight for the ball in the midfield. Won by Lily Ruff. She's the freshman out of Dripping Springs in Central Texas. Earning a starting role right off the bat. Jake Plant. Several freshmen on this roster earning a lot of time early, kind of like SMU. Mustangs have one of the top 20 recruiting classes in the nation, according to some sources. And UIW, for the mid-major level, really proud of what they've been able to bring in. Players like Lily Ruff, and we already saw Morgan Hines and her ability to change a game from the defensive midfield.
Yeah, and Jake Plant is one of those coaches who is not afraid to play freshmen. If they come in and they are the best players at their positions, doesn't matter if you're 18 years old, you will get minutes.
Libby Jannerit's a pest to play against. She just doesn't give up. It is a foul. Free kick going right to Jannerith, who wins the race and finds Beck out near midfield. Beck racing after it. Beck still coming. Alexander plays it along the ground, but it gives SMU some chance to pressure. Sharp clearance, but Ishak can't handle it. And SMU takes it back. 25 minutes to play. Great play by Matthews, though, to step to it. And the wingback brings it ahead. Matthews past Stryker. Matthews out to Ishak. Stopping on it just outside the box, matching up against Samson Elvram. A pound from out front, and it goes over the bar. UIW tried another one. Why not for Morgan Hines, who already scored from a similar distance.
You mentioned a moment ago how difficult it must be to play against Libby Jannerith, and it is. She's a very pesky player when the opposing team has the ball, and obviously she's very quick. But that long run by Kamaya Beck was a result of the fact that Jannerith went all the way from her wing back to basically being a fifth defender. She's taken on a lot more defensive responsibility this year. And again, with that athleticism and speed, that's a huge advantage and a huge bonus for the Mustangs.
A lot of reasons to like this SMU team this year, and that's a big reason they're receiving votes in the top 25. Kaylee Noble is back in. She had a big first half. Even though Noble didn't score, she nearly did, just missing by inches off the far post in the waning moments of the first half. SMU ball won by Martin.
Mustangs have really made an art of that tonight, getting pinched either against the end line or against the touch line, and rather than forcing the issue into a bad pass, just playing it off of an opponent.
Oh, Richter looking at that back post, and over the head of Boniquez, who is trying to march her way in. The welcome back event happening right now at SMU as the students are back on campus. And this is happening over Dallas Hall right now. A lot of the things you associate with SMU there, learning and faith and scissors. What do the scissors stand for? I'm not sure, but
and I have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to ask the owner of the drone show. That's some pretty stuff. That happened last year too. They should do it for every single game. They should do it right over the field.
You don't think that'd be repetitive?
They could change it up. They could spell out, "Hi, Steve, you're looking good tonight." Here comes Byer.
There's no good answer to that.
But it's always an exciting time to have athletics back on the hilltop, the students back on the hilltop. Oh, wow, what a big win, by the way, for volleyball today, sweeping away a top 10 team in Texas A&M in a season opening event.
Yeah, that was huge for Coach Erger and her team. Beating A&M is very difficult. Yeah. Sweeping A&M is a statement match.
And of course, they're going to be involved in the battle at AT&T Stadium coming up, the made-for-TV event in about a week and a half. Can't wait for that. Abby Goldine coming on for Nicole Stryker, and also Londynn Hagan, who exploded onto the scene in the first half with an assist and a goal, comes in on the wing for Julianne Richter. Those two freshmen on the wing make a great 1-2 punch. Richter is a very technical player, great in service, and then Hagan, obviously, with her speed and technical ability as well.
Yeah, they have. The fact that they're both freshmen is sometimes something you can forget because, as you said, they both add quite a bit, and they do add different elements. So it's one thing to have two talented players at the same position, but to have really contrasting styles really makes the opponent work and think about, okay, which player is this? What does she do well? I've got different defensive assignments when Richter's in versus when Hagan is in. I think you're right. I think it's a very nice tandem, and quite honestly, I don't think it matters to Nicole Nelson and her staff which one starts. They're both going to play, and they're both going to contribute.
They've both contributed tonight in a big way. Richter may have not gotten on the scoreboard officially in this one, but her wide service was definitely an issue for UIW to think about.
She did have the assist on Zoe Parkhurst's goal.
Oh, thank you. Yes, exactly, in the second half. Yeah.
I mean, almost right on the corner flag, and she put it right on Parkhurst's head. Beautiful serve and just a spectacular finish by Parkhurst.
Yeah, in the first half she didn't factor in, but in the second half she did. You're absolutely right. And that was her third assist of the year, by the way, to lead the squad. Nice pirouette by Lily Ruff, 5'3" freshman, showing some of her technical ability. And Noble nearly getting pulled down and gets it off to Hagan. Watch out, this combo was big time in the first half, but a heavy touch by Hagan, and Hayden Kish, the freshman from Orlando, is able to take it away, and Ishak is offside on her sprint down the left channel.
So even though the Cardinals turned that play away, that was a great example of what Kaylee Noble brings, because she was getting bear hugged from behind and almost thrown to the ground, and rather than flopping or giving up on the ball, she fought her way out of the clutches of her opponent and got forward and got on the ball. She's got, obviously we saw her technical skill as she had that beautiful shot in the first half off the post. She's very
Dallas. Kaya Samuelson Elvram, part of the midfield attack for SMU. Mustangs responsible for 4 goals tonight, 3 in the first half, 1 in the second half. John Little back with Steve Lansdale and our whole crew as SMU tries to put the finishing touches on a win over an in-state opponent, the first ever matchup against this team from San Antonio. You know, for UIW, maybe a little bit overmatched in this one, Steve, but at the same time, they've had some moments, and they wanted to figure out a way to get better out of this matchup, win, lose, or draw. And that goes for not only tonight, but also the Miami matchup and Texas as well.
Yeah, and I think the Cardinal coaches have every opportunity to celebrate some of that, because it would have been very easy for the Cardinals to come up to Dallas and go, oh no, we're playing an ACC team. What'd they do? They came out and scored first on the road against a team that, like you said, is receiving top 25 votes. Came out and proved that they can do it against high-level opponents. They scored a good goal, took a lead, and they have created some chances. Honestly, the Mustangs have had more chances than have found their way in the back of the net. Cardinals have defended pretty well on some too.
Martin slots it in, looking for Noble. Great weight on that ball, and as Noble runs onto it, crosses it right into the feet of Riley Sheldon, and it ends up in another corner opportunity for SMU.
Noble continues to play through the defense rather than around it, and I mean, she's a senior, she's strong, she holds her ground very well. We've seen her fight her way out of the clutches of defenders grabbing her, and she's got some speed, and we know she can shoot because she nearly scored at the end of the first half with a shot off the goalpost.
Oh, nearly an Olympico. The ball free on the ground. And DeMott running onto it. Hatzig couldn't get it to go. Hagan hitting the bar on the far side and nearly able to sneak one in.
You keep thinking when you see these curling corners that should happen more often, but it is so difficult to do.
So hard to do, yeah.
You know, first of all, you have a gang of, what, a dozen or more players jammed in front of the net. Plus, the goalies are so good at reading these and getting up off the ground to snatch any balls out of the air. It's very, very rare, and Hagan came within inches of pulling it off right there.
As she was looking for her brace, as she's already scored tonight, and she has an assist. Boniquez wins this ball, finds Noble. Noble. I just love her hold-up play as a striker in the middle of the field. This one for Hatzig, and it needs to be wasted, and is, by Riley Sheldon to stop the advancement.
Yeah, we talk all the time about strikers and how the highlights are the ones that end up in the back of the net, but every coach will tell you 90% of it is you can't do any, you can't put the ball in the net if you don't have the ball first. And Kaylee Noble does a terrific job of holding the ball in the offensive third. If she doesn't have a shot available, she's able to spin away and wait for the cavalry to arrive and have some reinforcements.
Well, with 16 minutes left, SMU gets Jessica Osborne into the match in place of Ella DeMott at a center back spot, and also in for the first time is Olivia Silcox. She is a transfer from Memphis who had played a fairly big role for them. Noble turns, shoots, and just over the bar. Noble has had several of those in the last couple matches, and one of these bombs is going to find the net sooner or later.
You can tell the way she spun, very aware of where the goal is, how far away she was, went just a little bit high. And the Mustangs have taken a lot of shots high. That's clearly part of the scouting report on Alexander.
Takeaway by the Cardinals, almost started it. Ruff cleaned it up, but look at Goldine race to the ball and try to start a break the other way. Here comes the outside back from North Carolina. Goldine. Line breaking pass down to Boniquez. Free ball in the direction of Noble. The Cardinals come out with it and march it ahead. 15 minutes left in Dallas, looking to cut SMU's 3-goal lead down. Hatzig, though, plays it right into the feet of Noble, who was offside and not by much, but leading ahead of the pack.
I agree with you. It was not by much, but she didn't raise any objections, so perhaps she was further back than we initially saw.
For SMU, that is offside call number 5. UIW with 1. 2-goal night for Brooke Bunton. 1 goal, 1 assist for Londynn Hagan. 2 assists for Kamaya Beck this evening. Just an all-around beautiful evening. Richter with an assist. A lot of players factoring into the scoring tonight, and we're not done with 14 minutes to go. The UIW side started out with a goal from Morgan Heinz off the drop-off assist by Zeba Ishak. Goldine absorbs that and finds Boniquez up the field. Aubrey Brown hasn't been tested in the second half. SMU has not scored nearly as much in the second half as they did in the first, but they may have been playing more solidly in the second half and just more under control than they did in the first.
Well, yeah, that's true, but also the objective is different, right? And
sure.
In the first half, you fall behind. Obviously, you got to get the equalizer. You got to get a goal to go ahead. In the second half, you come out of the locker room up a pair, and your primary goal above all is to see it through for another 45 minutes and get out with a victory. Zoe Parkhurst tacks on a 4th goal in the first minute of the second half, so things change. You don't have to take chances. At this point, your #1 goal is to be smart, to be careful, to be to make the right decisions, even if they don't end up in goals or even shots on goal on the other end. But keeping possession and making the Cardinals chase. Let the ball do the work.
I'll try to do it for another 12.5. It's a long pass to find Noble. Oh, and she just can't bring it in. But Noble wins it right back. Noble dancing in. Noble, a free shot punched away by Hannah Alexander.
That's probably Alexander's best save of the night. Noble crossed up a defender who's now getting stretched out for a calf cramp, it looks like.
It's Kish.
That's Kish, and beautiful left-footed shot by Noble. And nice job by Alexander stretching out to her right. That was headed inside that left post. That may be her best save of the night. That was a terrific redirection by her.
And forcing it far enough away where there was no rebound opportunity. As Alexander makes her second save of the night. UIW choosing to make a substitution at the center back spot and not keep Hayden Kish in, as Veronica Neverett Ceveda comes back on. SMU with some substitutions as well, as they will bring the freshman from Southlake, Peyton Hayes, in for Malia Martin at the outside back spot. Long throw in, down to Noble. Noble tripped up just on the edge of the box. Hatzick keeps it alive. Hatzick dancing through defenders. Hatzick torn down from behind, but it is a fair tackle unless SMU wants to try to get a review on it, as evidently there was enough of the ball there to not be a penalty.
Well, the entire SMU bench was up in arms that there was not a whistle blown there.
And I think SMU is, as a stoppage is coming here.
And Nicole Nelson was in the assistant referee's ear. I think this is a request for a review.
I believe that's the case. And we're not yet at the 80th minute mark, so it would have to be a review from the SMU side. One of two challenges that each team has. Now, so far this season, Nicole Nelson has gone 0 for 3. Let's see if she's able to win one and get a penalty out of it for the Mustangs.
I liked when the coaches were brought together to hear an explanation as to what they're reviewing, and Jake Plant just turned and walked away. He wasn't really interested in the explanation before the result. After the result, I'm sure he'll be very interested in what the officials have to say one way or the other.
Sure.
Or after the review, I mean.
So John Rush taking a look at it here. Let's see if we can get a look at it with you. We will in a moment, as Hatzick was carrying through defenders. Definitely inside the box. It was before this. So it was well before this, about 10 seconds before this happened.
Got a couple seconds.
There you go. And yeah, rolling on back there, rolling on back. All right, so a brave tackle here by Heinz. I don't know, man.
I think she got the shin.
Yeah, did she get around with the left foot and get any kind of ball?
Yeah, that's the key right there. So you see that left leg come around.
And whoever the player is facing Hatzick as well, does she get any of the ball? Let's see.
I think it's all about Heinz.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a penalty.
I think she gets into the left shin and maybe the right ankle as well without hitting the ball.
I just... Okay, let's see here. I don't know if there's not a penalty. I want to know why. But I didn't see a lot of ball there. But there was no call on the field. There's no penalty. So Nicole Nelson did not see the same thing that John Rush saw. That was 100% wrong. It is not a penalty. As we take a look one more time. So Hatzick is stumbling through.
Boy, I don't know.
I mean, there must have been just a little touch on the ball there by Heinz.
I think you could even make the argument there was a little bit of a trip one step outside the box before she started stumbling. But then right there, okay, maybe she got a toe on the ball. Maybe.
That would have had to have been what happened. It's back to live action. Hatzig trying to carry through defenders and ends up spinning it into the feet of her former teammate in Germany and Beyer, but this is left behind everybody, and Lisa Beyer comes back to collect. That must have been what it was, and so the true freshman Hines, who has not made a lot of mistakes early in her career, makes another sure play inside the box. Great ball. Here comes Hayes, trying to cut inside, leaves it behind her, gathers it back, shoots with the left foot and scores! And it's Julianna Millin for the SMU Mustangs, who just snuck into the game. Millin, the 5'6" sophomore, scores her first career goal in her first appearance of the season to make it 5-1. SMU, a highlight for Millin.
Really nice shot by Millin, but what I like even better is she absorbs the contact, keeps her balance, regains composure, grabs the ball, and has the poise to pick out a corner and find the upper left corner with a beautiful shot across the goal. You see Alexander's frustration, but that was a fantastic shot by Millin.
Julianna Millin, known as an offensive threat out of South Texas, coming from McAllen High. She's named the Rio Grande Valley Player of the Year in both 2022 and 2024. And also, she has connections to Ireland, has been part of the youth national team as a U17 in Ireland as well. But Millin scores the first of her career to make it 5-1 SMU.
That'll make you feel a little better about the ruling on the non-penalty kick.
I'd say so.
You got the goal. It wasn't from the spot 12 yards out in front, but a goal's a goal.
Congratulations to Julianna Millin, leaping into the box score for the first time in her career. Definitely a highlight. So Millin at the right wing right now, Hatzig at the left. Last time SMU scored 5 goals was just a little over 2 years ago against Texas Southern out of the SWAC. A 6-0 margin that day. Hatzig with the giveaway. A little tic-tac-toe. And a chance for UIW going forward. Olmo shooting and right at Aubrey Brown. That riser curling down into the face of Aubrey Brown, and she's able to make the neck-high stab.
Yeah, and those shots can be a little difficult. It's almost like a hook, the way it goes up and bends down. It works beautifully if you're shooting a free kick over a defensive wall. Obviously, Brown had a much clearer view there.
Aubrey Brown hits Noble right at midfield. Noble, Millin again. Oh, just a little bit too far out in front of her. And the center back, Navarrete Saveda, eliminates that chance as Millin was thinking about 2. Into Noble. Back to the goal again. Noble dancing, serving. Hatzig, free header. And at 5'2", she pops it straight up into the air. Little pitching wedge there for the German Hatzig.
And this is when it becomes really tough. You're down 4 goals. Obviously, you'd love to get equalizers, but that's a very tall order at this point with only 8 minutes left. And, you know, all these subs who come in, SMU's bringing in subs with fresh legs, and, hey, they want to get in on the score sheet as well.
Right now, you're seeing some players who haven't gotten any time this season before this matchup. A player like Millin, and also players like Olivia Silcox, who is in there at the holding mid spot right now as the single pivot in between the 2 center backs. And so a chance for them to develop their game and be more part of this depth down the line. Headed down by Osborne. Hatzig with a good first touch. She can't quite keep it in. The orb just eclipsing the line right in front of the UIW bench.
The orb.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
The cylinder. Ishak. Fight for it. Silcox has it stripped. Now Hatzig in there with some extra work. Throw-in will go to UIW, but I do like the work of Hatzig in there.
Yeah.
As far as pure foot speed goes for Mila Hatzig, she's not Hagan fast, but she does have that technical skill.
Yeah, I mean, that play a moment ago right in front of the Incarnate Word bench, she spun through 3 defenders, and if she had another foot of real estate, she'd still be running.
Hatzig trying to find Goldine. Taken away by Morgan Hines, part of that 29-0 Smithson Valley 5A state championship team a season ago. One of the best teams in South Central Texas history. Goldine can't keep it in. Ooh, big collision. Trio of pins get knocked down, and Heinzen's up with the ball. Heinz with some room. Heinz gets it back on her right foot. Crosses it in the direction of Millin. Who scored a goal just before the 80th minute to make it 5-1. 4 goal scorers tonight. Brooke Bunton had the double. Right now she's got the game-winning goal. Zoe Parkhurst, Julianna Millin, and Londynn Hagan all on the board for SMU this evening in the 5-goal eruption. Switch, Beyer, in the direction of Goldine, little too much.
Might have been a little too much because it's cooled off so much. We are now down to a brisk 99 degrees. Gosh. At 9 o'clock at night.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it
this
really
is a fall sport, isn't it?
It really is hot even for Texas.
Yes, exactly. Even for Texas, I think is a fair qualifier.
I mean, we're a good 12 to 13 degrees above average for this time of year. It was 109 today. Setting a new record for this date in history. Those are records you don't want.
No, not at all.
But when it's 70 degrees in October, this team will be fresh as a daisy at that point. Having been through these wars. Same thing for UIW. They say this is nothing for them. They've got a turf field. They practice on turf at 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, so Coach Plant was saying it's 120 plus on that turf sometimes.
It's melting their cleats.
Yes.
I mean, you can smell the burning flesh.
They have to keep their feet moving because the cleats get overheated.
Hopefully that turns into a red-hot fall for this Incarnate Word squad, especially when it comes to Southland Conference play. Bit of a buzzsaw today for Incarnate Word, but I can say they went to Dallas and struck a blow on the Giants from SMU. 5 straight goals after that for the Mustangs to run away, but for a time tonight, they had the advantage. Livingston looking up, sending a ball through. And it's sent away by Hayden Wilson, making her first start at center back for SMU. And thankfully for the Mustangs, there is a lot of experience at that center back position.
Yeah, and I think Wilson's played well. She brings some size, definitely some athleticism in the back end. And sure, she's got to work out a little bit of the timing and chemistry as she gets more minutes, but I think she's acquitted herself very well in her first start.
Goldine on the overlap, tries a one-touch cross, and it's intercepted. Another offside here, as Ishak was just barely offside on the play.
She was barely across midfield.
Yeah,
you don't
barely eligible to be offside.
You don't often see, exactly, you don't often see an offside 50 yards from goal.
Does SMU have one more flare of a goal left in them? Hayes marching in, and it's intercepted by Olivia Ariana, the transfer from Louisiana, Lafayette. She tries to spring one of her teammates on her way. Doesn't happen. Millin slots it inside. Noble, she's been close tonight. Heavy first touch, tries to fight back for it, and instead is called for a foul against the senior captain for UIW, Taylor Kish, a reliable and mature true soccer person, says Jake Plant.
One of the things I've really been glad to see tonight as we get into the final minute of the game is you and I haven't mentioned the name of either team's trainer tonight. When it's 1,000 degrees out, there's always a risk of cramps, and obviously it's a physical game in and of itself. Glad to see, it looks like both teams are going to get through with, at best, a few bumps and bruises.
True blessing for sure.
How often do we see August games where people are cramping up all over the field in the waning minutes?
SMU coming in fairly healthy. UIW with a couple injuries on their side to players they were hoping to have this year. One of them, Alex Knutson, will not be available this season, but another that they're anxious to get back is Tyler Coker, who is out with a knock, but she will not miss the entire season. 10 seconds left in Dallas. An early goal for UIW. Puts a pause into SMU, but after that, it's all Mustangs. And a 5-1 takedown tonight of the UIW Cardinals as SMU surges over 500 and picks up their first ever win over the Cardinals.
Really nice performance by the Mustangs, primarily in SMU's response to that opening goal by Incarnate Word. Several players in blue looked a little bit shell-shocked. I think Aubrey Brown was